Hi everyone, welcome back to The Shelves Have Eyes. I'm Phantom, and today we will be doing an unboxing and a review of Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbot Air Raid. This is the first out of 5 parts of Superion, and I have all of them. So rather than make a super long video doing every single one, I figured I would do exactly like I did with Devastator. Looking at the box, we have a fairly comic-y Andrew Wildman style illustration of the character here, along with a representation of his jet. We have part of the 13 Primes mural here, which looks to be Quintus Prime, Amalgamus Prime, and Onyx Prime. And then we have an image of Superion on the other side of the box. 1 out of 5, collect to combine. And then on the back, we have a rendering of how he looks in robot mode and his jet mode. And he transforms in 17 steps. So how about we get him out of this package and take a look at what the figure looks like, shall we? All right, so we have the actual figure itself, and then in a little plastic, little paper mache package, we have 2 guns and 2 accessory wings, which we need to put onto the figure. And it looks like his feet are still stuck inside of his legs. So let's just switch that around real quick. These are supposed to go here, but I guess you're supposed to flip them up in robot mode just because his feet can't move that way. All right, so here we have Air Raid in his robot mode. Not really a very memorable character. I'm just going to tell you right now that I don't really remember that much about individual Aerialbots. They all just kind of gather together in my head, like Superion. The only Aerialbot that I think really has any character really is Silverbolt. And that's really just characterized by the fact that he's afraid of heights, which doesn't make, a lick of sense. But yeah, I feel like Silverbolt gets all of the character development for the entire team. And I believe that Slingshot, whoever has the orange face, the white jet with the orange face that kind of looks like Leader 1 from the GoBots, he's angry all the time. That's really all I remember from any of the Aerialbots. So this is Air Raid. He looks very nice. I mean, the last time that we saw Aerialbots in toy form was for Combiner Wars. And I mean, Combiner Wars has issues just by nature of the way that they went about combining things. The central piece was almost always invariably wobbly. The thighs and hips were never correct. His shoulders, or any combiner's really, shoulders were never correct. They always moved around too much when you tried to move the limbs. All of the limbs had the exact same connection system, which is fine because that is very scramble sitting. I understand that. But it also made all of the toys kind of uniform because every single component had the huge square peg in their chest that flipped around to be either a connection part for a leg or a connection part for an arm. And it felt like the majority of the plastic for each toy was just in that peg, and everything else felt really hollow and maybe a little cheap. The joints especially, because they were almost all standard joints. I mean, Darkwing and Dreadwind that I reviewed from Power of the Primes are exactly, they are just mild retools of 2 of the Aerialbots from Combiner Wars. So you can look at that video if you really want my honest opinion on how floppy they have become in the interim. But this guy is not floppy. He does have standard joints, but they are of much better quality. There do seem to be stop gaps. The joint naturally inclines itself to either be straight or bent. I like that. It's not a ratchet. He has a standard joint for his elbows, and he cannot do a bicep curl. It's a singular joint. He's very stable on his feet. He's very posable. I mean, for whatever posing you want the Aerialbots to be doing. I feel like the Aerialbots really never got a chance to do much in the cartoon. I mean, they and the Decepticons were the biggest component from the Key to Vector Sigma two-parter. And then they got their own standalone story in War Dawn. But even that, they were kind of bystanders to that, because War Dawn was all about Orion Pax turning into Optimus Prime, and Alpha Trion turning him into Optimus Prime, and then Ariel and Dion, etc. The Aerialbots just kind of were there, and they were the medium that story was told in, so even then, they really didn't have much to do. And the other thing is that, like, just looking at any of the Aerialbots, I can't tell you which one is which. I'm literally relying on the instruction booklets telling me who I'm looking at here. So this is Air Raid. I don't remember anything about his character or if he had any lines in the cartoon. The Aerialbots are even less of a thing in the Marvel G1 comics. I really don't think that they did much of anything. He's pretty nice. I actually like all of his articulation. I like his proportions. They all look very nice. None of his legs are too long or too short, not like Astra Train. The plastic decisions, the colors are very nice. The joints are tight. He doesn't have the floppy clasps that plagued every Combiner Wars figure. He does have a hip swivel, which is very nice. He does have ankle tilts, which is very nice. Overall, I would say that I like the fact that there is so much detail in this without, paint apps. I mean, he would probably do well with a toy hack set, but I actually like him the way he is. He looks very clean. It's a very clean look. There is no empty space on this figure at all, except maybe on the bottom of his arms. But even then, no, nothing. He's very compact, animation accurate. So how about we transform him into his jet mode? Take a look at that. So here we have Air Raid in his... Is this Air Raid? I keep forgetting. Yes, this is Air Raid. So now we have Air Raid in his jet mode. And it's perfectly passable. I mean, he's got a lot of undercarriage here, so it doesn't really look like a jet. But aside from that, the silhouette is fine. It does look like a jet. It has the underwing guns. It is the appropriate colors, which are black and white with red Autobot tampographed logos. And then if you look at him from the front, you've also got an Autobot logo right there. You have to turn his head around to hide it in his jet mode. I mean, there are issues with this jet mode. But I really can't find it in my heart to care that much about it. I mean, because you're going to be looking at it mostly from the top anyway. You're not really going to be looking at it from the side. And you know that it's part of a gestalt. So no, I mean, it hides itself well enough. And you got this little funky landing gear thing to keep it upright. No, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's as jets go, I'm not expecting a Thundercracker, a Seeker mold, because, I mean, that's a Voyager class figure. For a deluxe class figure, this is actually really nice. It looks very nice. So here we are at the end. This has been an extraordinarily short video because it's just a deluxe class figure. One thing I did forget to do when I transformed him was his fists actually do fold into his arms, just to further hide them as they sit underneath his wing in jet mode. So this is Air Raid from Age of the Primes, and just for fun, this is Air Raid from Combiner Wars. So yeah, you can see that there are significant issues here. I mean, all of the Combiner Wars figures had minuscule waists that were laughably narrow, necessitating their legs to be molded instead of with an ankle tilt. Aside from that, I mean, they've got plastic peg standard joints here, so those do have a tendency to loosen over time. But the toy itself was dominated by the combiner peg, which essentially was exactly the same for every single figure, and you could tell because their chests were enormous. And you knew that that would flip around even if there was a covering over it. You knew that that would flip around and they would make some part of some limb of a combiner. I mean, looking at it, fine. I mean, this one's head is blue, this one's head is silver, this one is animation accurate, this one is less so. But also, this one is kind of more styled after IDW. I mean, Superion and the Aerialbots were appearing in IDW at the time of Combiner Wars, the TV, the toy line. So it's entirely possible that they were basing the appearance off of this character as he appeared in the IDW comic, which I guess he's more comic proportioned in that he has a big, heroic, masculine chest and really tiny waist and broad, rickety legs and brawny, thick arms. I don't really think it's a great look. I don't remember being terribly impressed with this figure when it came out. I think I only bought it because I wanted to make Superion. So, yes, for the purposes of comparison, this is what the two of them look like. This one stands a little bit higher, but the thing is, this one is noticeably lighter than the Age of the Primes one, and there's no denying that the Age of the Primes one is superior in almost every respect. So this is Air Raid, part 1 of Superion. We will be going through the rest of the Aerialbots and culminating in Superion. So stay tuned for the next video. I know that there really wasn't much in the way of this particular video, but I hope that you enjoyed something short instead of me meandering for 30 minutes. Overall, the toy is very good. I liked it. I think the proportions are good. I like the engineering of it. It's just a nice step up from the Combiner Wars version. It's very compact. I like the proportions. It's a win in my book. So thank you very much for joining me today on The Shelves Have Eyes. I hope that you enjoyed this short video, or shorter video, and I will be doing all 5 Aerialbots and Superion next. So stay tuned for that. If you did enjoy this video, please think about liking the video, commenting on it, and subscribing to the channel so you know when the next video drops. We are constantly putting out new content, at least twice a week, sometimes more often. And I've got a whole bunch more Transformers content coming out. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much once again. I have been Phantom. This has been The Shelves Have Eyes. Have a good night, y'all.
Transformers, defenders of truth, robots who fight in disguise. Transformers, when the battle is through. Unknown soldier.